Steven, how's traffic been like for you with the Super Bowl being here?
Been totally fine.
Nothing bad at all. I mean, you driving to work usually?
Brother, I take BART. Hell no.
I know,
That's
but
the that's the veteran move.
yeah, well, that's what I've been doing all week, and it's actually nice in comparison to 2 years ago when we were doing this in Vegas, and then every day you would go from your hotel room to the convention center where this was going on. It just feels like you're always a part of Radio Row, where
Mhm.
now that it's here locally, you can just go home, chill, and then not have to feel like you're in it every single day. Because I'll be honest, Radio
Yeah.
Row's fun, but by Thursday, you're like, dude, I'm fucking over this.
Yeah, well, okay, so you're oh god, and Jesse just texted me National Yogurt or Frozen Yogurt Day, and she loves frozen yogurt. All right. I guess
So
that's all
that's
gonna
on the
be added.
docket.
That's gonna be added to the plans. So you are so you're at Radio Row right now. You just did your show.
Just did the show, yeah.
Obviously there's not gonna be any East Coast radio stations doing anything from Radio Row. So I'd presume that afternoon shows would be from the West Coast would be the last to go. I mean, are you in that area with anyone else right now?
Well, your guy from Chico, Mr. Michael Connell's kind of breaking everything down right now. But besides that, as far as like other radio people doing shows, yeah, there's a few people out here. There's some people that are doing some shows right now. But yeah, it's really for the East Coast audience.
Yeah.
Where they get up like super early here, and everybody's starting. I mean, obviously on East Coast time. So by the time our show's on, a few people come on. We got the last few days. Terrell Davis came on, and Frank Caliendo, and what's up?
Making the rounds.
Making the rounds. Michael Irvin was really, really awesome today. We had Chris Mad Dog Russo, your guy, on.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun. It usually dies down though by the time our show goes on the air.
So this is just an observation that I've made. For now, because KCBS is not at Radio Row. Just for anyone who's asking, like Ernie's asking where I am. I'm in my nursery right now. Actually, I can't really move.
You're getting ready for a baby.
I got this old bassinet back here, and I can't move it, and it's a lot bigger than I thought. And this place is kind of crammed, so I can't really move back and forth. However, Radio Row, is it more like? Can you still do the thing where you walk around and just basically grab people and say, "Hey, can you join the show at this specific time?" Or is it more now you got to schedule ahead because everyone is just so damn busy? It's more than just because it's far different compared to, say, the last time it was there, like in 2016, because you didn't have as many social media people, like there was one guy who posted something which was pretty jarring, which was, well, not jarring. It was pretty amazing, really, where he talked to Pat McAfee. And the last time he did, it just so happened to be at the 2016 Super Bowl. And he said he was like the only one at Radio Row with the camera or something like that. And so I just assume it's very different now.
Yeah, they're calling it Media Row now because there's more podcasts involved. And I can't remember exactly what it was like 10 years ago when we were here. But definitely more of a radio presence. This time around, it's... Yeah, I mean, it's pretty packed. Like the first couple days, Monday, Tuesday, a few people showed up. Later, Connell. It was...
Bye, Michael.
Yeah, Steven says bye too, Connell. He says bye, Steven.
Oh, great. Wow, what a back and forth.
But, yeah, it was pretty slow the first couple of days, and then things pick up on Wednesday, Thursday, and then tomorrow things will be pretty slow. But... as far as like the vibe here, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You can walk around and you can go try to grab people. But I mean, I remember doing this 10 years ago, first starting off as a producer. And when it came to Radio Row, you pretty much had to get everything set in stone months in advance.
Oh, okay.
And now it's kind of like that still. I mean, you're able to, like, I remember years ago, like I was able to walk up to Kenny Mayne and he came through. For bigger people, they have tight schedules, so it's hard to do this. But luckily, our guys, actually, our digital team, Jack Loader and Austin Scott, did fantastic work this week by just like, just being social butterflies, just going up to people randomly, like, hey, you have time to come on with us? And some are willing to do it. Some are like, get out of my face. So it's a mix. I think that some like the big the big people that do Radio Row, they have their schedules set up. But the more people that have their schedules pretty open, they're willing to come on any show.
So, a couple of other questions. Number one, who was kind of the belle of the ball?
The belle of the ball.
Who was the most popular figure there? Because if I remember, there was one time, and this wasn't last year or even the year before that or the year before that. I just remember Jolo and Dibs going to Miami, and I remember Fortenbaugh coming back, and this was after Cam Newton, I think, just got into media, and I remember him he's like, dude, Cam Newton, people may not agree with whatever he says, but he was a star, like a superstar at radio. Like people crowded around him always. So was there anyone like that this year? Maybe it was Robert Irvin or Irwin, excuse me.
Well, he had the big announcement today that the 49ers are going down under.
Oh, God. You didn't use that on the air, did you?
Probably did today, yeah.
We
played Men at Work when we talk about that segment.
Of course you were.
Yeah, why not?
Of course. Who couldn't?
We'll get into that a little bit later. But as far as the biggest gathering of people, I would say
just the big star of the week.
I mean, McAfee said a lot of people showed up for him.
Yeah.
And he would also, it's actually pretty cool of him. After every show, he would talk to everybody in line. And if you were here promoting something, or if you're a content creator trying to figure out your own platform, he would take the time to talk to you. I guess yesterday he took 2 hours to talk to people.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I think that's why people are gravitating towards him. Some people, he's right across from where Cam Newton is, so there's some people lining up for him as well.
From what Sharp and Ocho.
Yeah, well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, they were set up right over here. People were looking for the nightcap.
They were set up over there, and then Ocho Cinco was set up at the Gold Club.
He will be. Did he go over there?
Yeah, he posted it. I don't know if you're allowed to. Are you allowed to post photos from indoors?
I'm not sure about that one.
Indoors is the most British thing I've ever said in my life.
But if you're Chad Ochocinco, you're able to pretty much do anything you want. Yeah, as for I'm trying to think of other people that had a big gathering.
There's a McDonald's right there on Market Street, and then you can just go right down
across the street.
Yeah, then you can go down to New Montgomery into Gold Club. So it's perfect place for Ocho.
And I'm sure he would love their wings or their buffet that was very popular back in the day when we were working across the street there at the old 95.7 building. I'm trying to think of who else had big gatherings like that. From what I was told yesterday, Dave Portnoy had a big gathering with him.
Of course. Yeah. He always, I mean, he's a popular guy. How about Gruden and Gannon? Did you hear any snap counts in the buildings of San Francisco?
No, dude. I wish Gruden was around. He's not. I haven't seen him at all, and I think they did their show, the Barstool show, at Golden Gate Tap Room.
Okay, I got you. That's cool,
but dude. We may need to play that video. Maybe the next time we do a show on Saturday, we break down Gruden's interaction with Rich Gannon, because that was all time. Yeah, I mean, just like two buddies seeing each other on the street.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome. But yeah, it's been weird. This whole week's been weird, where it's fun at first, and then you're I'm kind of over it. Where there's too many fucking people, all the schmoozing, all of the just the media people thinking they're so high and mighty. It's fun to talk to celebrities, and as far as celebrities like Frank Caliendo and Michael Irvin, that's awesome. But tomorrow, I'm just I'm glad it's winding down.
Really?
Yeah. I know, and I'm sorry that you are missing out this year.
It's fine.
I don't mean to rub it in where it's it's pretty cool, but also I'm over it.
Tired. No. I mean, it's how you feel, man. You're allowed to feel that way. It's your experience. It's not mine, but it's yours.
I know. One day will be yours. This is the third time I've done Radio Row, and it's fun, but at the same time, it's tiring. But a little less tiring, because as we talked about earlier, we get to go home after the day's done. Yeah. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa, coming to you from Radio Row. Stephen's coming from his house. Yeah. We are here on a Thursday night. The NFL Honors is going on right now. I think they already announced that Myles Garrett's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. No shocker there. Tedero McMillan, your Offensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I guess that's right. I'm thinking of Emeka Ibuka or anybody else that would have had standout seasons. But McMillan was pretty good this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be Cam Ward, right? But he didn't really have like the offensive player of the year type season. It felt like the two rookies that everyone was talking about towards the end, a little bit. Tet McMillan, not too much, but it felt like Luther Burden as the offensive rookie was kind of gaining some traction.
He was good this year, but I don't think enough to win that award.
Yeah, but yeah, that's an interesting one because I don't know. Cam Ward he played on a terrible team, but he was also not that great. So I'm not fully surprised, but at the same time, it's not a quarterback. When's the last time it wasn't a quarterback? Well, I guess it's pretty common with Rookie of the Year, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who won it last year. It's not coming off of the top of my head just right now. But yeah, I mean that's probably the right person to win it. He got 1,000 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns, 70 receptions. Not fantastic, but yeah, I think it was going to be a lot for Cam Ward to win it. Honestly, like
Jaden Daniels, C.J. Stroud, Garrett.
Oh yeah, that's right. What am I talking about? Jaden Daniels won it a year ago.
Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, then Saquon.
And honestly, I would argue that Tyler Shuck had a better season this year than Cam Ward did.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? If this pattern tracks, it usually goes 2 quarterbacks, then 2 position players, then 2 quarterbacks again, then 2 position players. At least that's the way it's been since 2017. So next year we're looking at probably another wide receiver, which does not bode well, I think, for the old Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, well,
you want your quarterback being the Rookie of the Year. That's what you want. You don't get Anthony as Rookie of the Year, which I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was a shoe-in where easy for running backs, just it's easy transition to go from college to the pros. So as long as the offensive line blocked for him, I thought he was going to have a good season, but it was easier said than done, and that's step one for Clint Kubiak and John Spytek this offseason to get a better offensive line for Fernando Mendoza, and I don't know if he'll win Rookie of the Year from a year from now because he's got a lot of work to do, but doubt that. We're going to keep this show brief tonight because we'll talk more about the Super Bowl and the Max Crosby rumors from Jay Glazer, but tonight we're going to focus on the Warriors because they made a huge trade last night. A huge trade as far as the significance of moving on from a player that's really been the bane of the Warriors' existence for quite some time. And it's not really his fault. I think it's just, you ever seen a player that divided the fan base more than Jonathan Kuminga?
That's why I didn't title it. Actually, our production team did. I don't know what I'm talking about. Our digital staff.
Dude, by the way, yeah, exactly. Just like looking around, like you figure, like I always think like, oh, you know, the nightcap, it's just Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson doing it themselves. No, there's a team of people. Like it's, no. You and I are really doing the dirty work, Steven, when it comes to podcasting. Dude, I tell you,
it's like it's insane. And we got to figure out a better way to do this. At least posting clips and stuff because that's all there is now. Anyway, that's why though I don't know whether to call it because we had Saint on today and I asked him for just one word that you could use to describe the Jonathan Kuminga era, and the first word that came to mind was underachieving, and which can be true. I think that's absolutely truth in that. You can use a variety, obviously, to talk about it, and we're going to, but I just call it one of the more bizarre times in Warriors history to go from this dynastic team to going on a surprise run in the championship in 2022. Fans who had one foot out the door on Steve Kerr seemingly have both feet out the door if they were fans of this player. This guy was meant to be like kind of the next generation. They took a swing on him and none of it worked out. And it feels like all the moves subsequent to 2021, some have been pretty good, but most underwhelming. I don't know. It's just a weird time that I think we're going to look back on this and think, damn, like we wasted a lot of energy on one player, a coach, and maybe talking about something that didn't really matter in the grand scheme.
It did not really. I mean, ton of potential. He did have talent, but I don't think that he was going to be a difference maker on this team. So you go through a lot of stuff that happened with the Warriors the last 10 years, stuff that got in the way of them winning. Obviously, Draymond's suspension in the 2016 NBA Finals, the whole thing with Jordan Poole, the fight, Steve Kerr's back,
Yep.
Just a lot of bullshit. You can name a ton of stuff. I haven't seen anything divide the fan base like Jonathan Kuminga, where I know some people were mad at Draymond and other things out there. The Kevin Durant stuff divided the fan base a little bit too, but everybody was still on the same page that, we're trying to win championships here. Those were the good days, even though there was fighting like Draymond and KD on the court in LA. But this is like the belt wars. You would know that better than me, Steven, but the way that fans viewed Kuminga, where it's like either you're a Kuminga guy or you're a Steve Kerr guy, or you want Kuminga to change everything with the franchise. You want the offense to revolve around him, or you are thinking that Steve Kerr knows what's best. And I'm baffled by the whole thing because I've never seen somebody have little impact on the basketball court garner so much attention as he did.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous at times because when you look back at the Jonathan Kuminga era, like, what do you remember? I remember just more of the discourse around it. I remember him actually playing. I remember, there's moments we could say like, the garbage time, not garbage time, but him having 30 points in a playoff game where the game was pretty much in hand already, but there was no Steph Curry on the court. That made the difference. A few games here or there.
Yeah.
But honestly, like when you think of his time as a Golden State Warrior, it's really going to be about how the fans bitched and complained that he wasn't getting enough playing time.
Yeah. I think era is okay it's okay to call it an era, right?
Yeah.
It's been 4.5 years. I think we can go into the era stratosphere, at least in terms of talking about this now. It is a weird era, man. And I can't think of one either because it's not just, as I was writing my reports on it today, I kind of realized like it's not just Jonathan Kuminga, the player, who's polarizing. It's the Jonathan Kuminga conversation. It's the debates. It's all of that. It's not him like being a polarizing player. It's just the subject of JK is what's polarizing because he's kind of a microcosm, I think, of the fans' larger issues with the team. And that's the problem with ownership. That's the problem with Mike Dunleavy Jr. for whatever reason, even though he brought Jonathan Kuminga in and traded for a player who's going to be averaging 17 points a game if he's healthy, which is fine. I'm honestly not that mad at the move. I know we're going to talk about that, but I don't know where I was going. I was just hoping I'd find that sense along the way. But point being, it's just such a strange thing. It's never, I don't know. I've never had a problem with the player. I've never had a problem with Kuminga. The only personal problem I've ever had in this whole thing was his agent. I just don't like the way that his agent handled things. And I think his agent at some point is going to be calling radio stations, asking him to get a job when he doesn't have any more clients.
That could be the case. I have a problem with Kuminga a little bit, but I'll get to that. And of course,
sure,
everybody knows by now, Jonathan Kuminga was traded last night along with Buddy Hield for Kristaps Porzingis. And we'll see if Porzingis makes an impact on the Warriors because I really don't know. Like, it's a good move for the rest of the season, but it's an expiring contract.
Right.
He's 30. He's always injured. We'll see what happens. Now you can have him play the 5. You don't have to worry about Draymond being that guy anymore.
Sure.
Trade TJD to go to the Raptors. And now you can play pretty much with Steph, Moody, Podziemski, Draymond, and Porzingis when healthy as your starting 5. We'll see.
After all these years of wanting a big man, after all these years, the one they landed via free agency or a trade, Kristaps Porzingis. Wow.
And I like Porzingis, but I liked him 2 years ago when he's won a championship with the Boston Celtics. I'm not really sure what he brings. I mean, he's a stretch 5. He can get your points. But I think it just gets you from being a 9th seed or a 10th seed to being a 7th seed, maybe. Yeah. And it's funny enough, like that's what Jimmy Butler did last year, where it felt more like a more of a significant move because they went on, what was it, like a 22-7 run?
Yeah.
But that was only good enough to get you the 7th seed because they lost games along the way.
Yeah.
So we'll see where the Warriors go with him. We can talk about that later. But just as far as Kuminga, like,
I'm
just glad it's over because we just talk about him way too much. And if it was, I was shocked that they actually did this move because I think you and I were talking about it last time. Maybe you thought the Giannis move was actually going to happen. For the last week, I've been like, it's not going to happen. it doesn't make sense for the Milwaukee Bucks to pull the trigger on this because the Warriors probably have the most desperate offer. But you look back, or you go to the offseason and see what Milwaukee or what Minnesota can offer, what Miami can offer, and really, it sounds like from what everybody's been reporting, Sam Amick and company, it sounds like Giannis, as far as like his priorities or like who's on his wish list, it sounds like Miami or Minnesota, where you go to Golden State and yeah, you're playing with Steph Curry, and that's been a dream of his. At the same time, what happens after Steph? How long is Steph Curry signing a contract? And are you in the same position you were in with Milwaukee that you're in now with the Warriors? So whatever, the Giannis stuff is over, and we can talk about that later. But yeah, I'm glad they moved off of Kuminga.
As far as the Giannis thing, I'll just say I think they got judged. AKA Aaron judged.
Oh, they got played.
I don't even think the Timberwolves or the Heat are going to be involved. I think he's going to stay in Milwaukee. Yeah. I think that they were using this as a leverage play to see what type of value they could get and see if the Warriors did, in fact, make the best offer, which was reported several times by everybody. Good Lord, the reports out there, the smoke over these last few days, it's been unreal. But come to find out, like there's all these connections, right? There's the Aaron Judge thing with the San Francisco Giants, saying Rich Aurelio is his best player. Giannis Antetokounmpo being the only non-Warrior to attend Steph Curry's party during the All-Star game last year. Talk about a draft day type analysis. It's like, oh, he's the only one to attend his party. He must love the Warriors. It's like, right. I think Giannis just wanted a party. But I think they use the Warriors as a leverage play. I don't know why they would do that. Maybe they are going to trade him, but I could just envision him getting the 4-year, $275 million max or 285, whatever it is, and just sticking with the Bucks. I could envision that, much like Aaron Judge with the Yankees.
I am with you 100% because that's the way that's the way things are going, in my opinion. It feels that way. Where Milwaukee tested the waters, nothing's really enticing, and Giannis hasn't really demanded a trade. Yeah, he kind of skirts around it and doesn't tell Sam Amick that that's what he really wants, but he kind of like leaves it up to like, well, if that's Milwaukee, if that's what Milwaukee wants to do, if they want to, I'm just an employee, if they want to trade me, it's like, no, Giannis, you have power in this whole scenario. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised, I'm with you, Steven, if this summertime he signs the max or I guess if it's postponed, or sorry, if there's no trade, if it's where now he's on the roster, I don't know if he's eligible for a contract extension this offseason. I think
he's not eligible till January if he gets traded in the summer.
Okay, but if he stays on the team, he could get it if he's with Milwaukee, obviously.
Yeah. I watched Bobby Marks video. I don't just know that. But also with Kuminga, we kind of went off track on Giannis. I know we were talking about Kuminga. There's one thing that really got me, not got me, but I found it fascinating, and it was a post from NBA Central, right?
Yeah,
and from many of the responses, I didn't read all of them, but I was really interested to see what people had to say, and more than most, for lack of a better way to describe it, looked at this specific tweet and said, this is what we can pinpoint as to how the organization failed Steph Curry after that 2022 championship run. It was this GQ tweet, and it was teasing an article with Steph, saying it's Steph Curry dreams of a future 5 years from now where Jordan Poole's an all-star, Kuminga's an all-defensive player, and Wiseman is an MVP candidate. Yeah. And I just find it fascinating that we can read that, and when I read into it, Jordan Poole being an all-star, maybe, but even though he got his own team, he was still really good, but he still hasn't made the all-star team, as far as I know. He's just not that popular of a player. I don't know. And whatever happened with him, that had nothing to do with the coaching staff. We don't use Jordan Poole enough when talking about how this coaching staff develops young players. Like, Jordan Poole was a young player with the Warriors. The only reason he left is because he got punched by Draymond. Like, whichever way you want to slice it, that punch impacted his entire season after that. And obviously the Warriors chose him, Draymond over him. But the next one, Kuminga, an all defensive player, and Wiseman is an MVP candidate. The James Wiseman thing, obviously that was just bad luck.
Yeah,
really. I mean, I think he had problems, or I mean, he had issues on the court, but I don't know. He had potential. He was a big guy who was pretty athletic. And then there's the Kuminga being an all defensive player. And I think it's interesting looking back on that, seeing that's what his ceiling was. He didn't use all-star. Steph didn't use MVP candidate. He used all defensive player for Kuminga, not all defensive player for Wiseman. And I find it interesting that he did not reach that type of status, and that's what Curry wanted him to be. I'm sure there's more to it in the article, but when I just see all defensive player, that's not what I think when I think Kuminga.
Of course not. None of those guys reached that potential. It was the failure of the two timeline approach that led to the situation today. What?
It's your buddy Andy.
I know. He's going off on the chat right
wild.
now. But as far as the Warriors, yeah, I mean, with Jordan Poole, it was the punch, and really also was Jordan Poole not getting over the punch.
Right.
You know, some teams are able to look past that stuff. Jordan Poole wasn't able to. Like you saw a clip a couple weeks ago where he's going to local schools and kids are asking him about it. He could not shake that thing, and that's unfortunate. With James Wiseman, you had to take him. I don't blame anybody for that one. He just didn't live up to expectations, and he, declared for the NBA way too soon. With Kuminga had the best potential, honestly, where everybody was rooting for him. Even Steve Kerr at one point, and he just did not buy in. And I do blame Kuminga for a lot of this. I blame Joe Lacob. I blame Mike Dunleavy Jr. for not pulling the trigger earlier.
Yeah.
And I blame Steve Kerr a little bit for obviously not playing him enough. There should have been times where maybe he went to him more, but Steve knows what he wants. I blame Bob Myers a little bit too for he drafted talented guys, but maybe guys that just didn't fit this team. And
that's the question of who to blame, though, right? It's like you hear so many things. You hear like it's Joe Lacob's decision, Bob Myers, then it's Mike Dunleavy Jr. who kept these guys around. Like I don't really know who to go after, but I do know that they made the wrong pick because if anything, these last couple of years, it feels like whenever Steve Kerr talks about Will Richard or Quentin Post or even Trace Jackson Davis before he got traded, like the way that he talked about them, he always talked about their experience in college ball. And it became pretty clear that he loves himself some experienced players. And Kuminga just wasn't that after 1 year with the G League Ignite, which has not exactly been a breeding ground for superstars like many thought it would be when him and Jalen Green were doing their thing.
No, definitely not. So, I mean, you could blame a ton of people in this whole thing, but the bottom line is winning was the priority over development.
Sure.
And I don't blame them for that because I don't know if they really planned on winning a championship in the 2022 season. It was, like I said, I kind of refer to that time as a Lifetime Achievement Award where it wasn't their best year, but it was damn impressive. They didn't have to face the Phoenix Suns where they were coming off of their Western Conference championship. And I thought it was all set up for that to have a big-time matchup there, but they faced the Dallas Mavericks, and then they faced the Boston Celtics, who were a good team, went on to be champions themselves, but maybe it was just like they weren't ready for that experience where Steph Curry and everybody just went off. Really, Steph in that series,
I'll be the
Finals
stickler.
MVP.
I'll be the stickler. After you've said that several times before now, I don't like Lifetime Achievement Award.
Why not?
Because the people who win the Lifetime Achievement Awards don't have to do anything, right?
It's okay. Not a Lifetime Achievement Award. I would say it's like
I get where you're going. It's just they don't do anything. They just get the Lifetime Achievement Award for being around.
Yeah, it's Lifetime Achievement Awards. Pretty much like, thank God you're still alive, and we didn't recognize you earlier. Like it's kind of the same deal. Like I kind of relate the Warriors 2022 championship to Sean Connery getting Best Supporting Actor for The Untouchables.
Yeah,
where it's like, is that his best work? Probably not, but it's Sean Connery, so you have to give him one to him. Like,
of course. Come on.
I'm trying to think of other instances like that. Andy would know. He'll pop up in the chat and be serious now with some Oscar stuff. But
there's Jamie Lee Curtis, the most recent one.
You don't think she was deserving for what should we call it?
For Everything Everywhere All at Once? No, sir.
Yeah.
How does it feel with a bunch of people who are trying to pack up, ready to leave, and you're just out here giving takes?
I mean, people still working, but people are screaming, like running around screaming that Mike Vrabel just won Coach of the Year, so they reacted to that. Yeah, that just happened. Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year. It makes sense.
Yeah, he was the heavy betting favorite. I'm not surprised by that.
I mean, I get that one. Along with McCaffrey getting just announced he's comeback player of the year.
Yeah, even more of a heavy favorite.
Yeah, we'll get into that more on the Saturday show. But yeah, as far as Kuminga, like, look, it needed to be done. I thought they were going to stand pat the trade deadline with Jimmy being hurt and just be like, all right, we'll just figure things out in the offseason. It's still that way right now. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I think we all knew going into the season that it was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
When they signed the contract, I think both parties went into the season with best intentions, but the end goal was to have a divorce where Kuminga could be his own guy and, you know, go out there and start and score as many points as he wants to. And I know that today he said like it was a surprise that it was the Atlanta Hawks, but beggars can't be choosers at this point. It was the best offer on the table. So Kuminga, go do your thing with the Hawks without Trae Young right now.
No, it's going to be and another part to this is now you're seeing Jonathan Kuminga go to a team where their head coach Quinn Snyder very good at developing players. There's a reason that he's still a coach in the NBA. He hasn't won a championship. So now Kuminga is supposedly going from a team that knows how to win a championship that can't develop their younger stars, and then he's going to a team that might not be able to win, but he'll have a chance to become a very solid individual player. Like I won't be surprised if Kuminga is very good. Like I won't be surprised if he has a fruitful NBA career.
Right.
However, I would be surprised if I absolutely would be surprised if he is the first or second best player on a championship team.
I would be too. I think that he has to have a different mentality when it comes to playing defense. I mean, yeah, he has talent. He could be a natural scorer, but he needs to play the style of basketball that Steve Kerr wanted him to. Right. And maybe he doesn't need to do that with Atlanta. We'll see, whatever. But as long as he's happy, as long as the Warriors are happy and he's happy going forward. I just want to read Steve Kerr's thing with Anthony Slater today on the departure of him. Steve Kerr, I think it was a tough situation for everybody given how raw he was when he got here and given we were still playing for championships. He needed the runway to make more mistakes. He needed the experience of being in the NBA and understanding what it was about. For him, it was very tough not being allowed to make those mistakes. Yep. For us as a staff, it was tricky trying to develop him while we were trying to win. I think it was as simple as that. Everybody liked him. I liked him. He was a really good guy, very personable, well liked in the locker room, just a tough fit. I agree with that. I agree with that. Where, yeah, it was a lot to ask of him because Tom talks about it all the time. The goal was to win, especially after that 2022 season. Steph signs another contract. Only so much time is left. You want it to be where Steph, Draymond, and Clay run out to the sunset. Didn't work out that way, obviously. But can you have it where the young guys help out in that? Jordan Poole, James Wiseman, and Kuminga. And it didn't work out. The only guy remaining is Moody, and we'll see what happens with his long-term future there. But as far as Kuminga and his role in all this, I do blame him, obviously, because he's the guy that chose not to play in the OKC game earlier this year where he faked an injury. And you could say, like, well, that's negotiations because at that point he wanted to get traded. Okay, but it's another opportunity for you to play. Mm-hmm. I've heard stories, too, last year in the playoff game, the playoff series against the Houston Rockets. He did not want to play in garbage time. Whatever. There's a lot of things. I mean, like, we know that Steph was frustrated with him. Draymond can play it off like he's a good teammate, but I'm sure he was frustrated with him. He got along with everybody, but as far as like what was asked of him, he just didn't want to buy in. So I do blame Kuminga in this, but also he's young and he'll learn. I'm just so glad we're over this because nothing against him, but the conversation was just nauseating after a while. Yeah. And I never want to get to the point where Steve Kerr needs to be fired because he didn't develop Jonathan Kuminga. Like, that's insane. What the fuck are we talking about here? It's like people pointing the finger at Kevin Stefanski for not developing Shedeur Sanders this year. And I get it. Like, maybe he didn't like him and maybe he didn't want him to be the quarterback of his team, but you're really going to fire somebody over that? Like, right. I think that we should give benefit of the doubt to Steve Kerr in this situation where we know his scheme works, his philosophy works. So I don't know. I thought the whole thing was ridiculous.
This had to happen. Like, it had to happen. It had to happen 2 years ago. It had to happen last year. Quite frankly, it's too late. I think it's I think there's blame to go all around. It sucks. It sucks that they haven't gotten the best of what you think you can get with a team, including Steph Curry, over these last few years, except they brought in Jimmy Butler last year and it worked out okay. And I'm still going to stand on, if both Steph and Jimmy were playing, then they would beat Minnesota in a 7-game series. I'm going to stand on that. Can't prove the hypothetical, but I'm going to stand on it. And
it would have been closer. I'm with you on that one.
But then Jimmy Butler gets hurt and it changed everything. Like, I think the Warriors would have made this move. I think there's also something about just Giannis's whole situation that has left fans a little disappointed because, you thought you were getting this superstar, this icon, really, a 2-time MVP, but now you're just kind of stuck with Kristaps Porzingis, who on an expiring contract, you don't really have a future set up.
Yeah. No, you don't. And that leaves the door open for them to still go after Giannis if they want to.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny how we all kept saying, like, the Warriors need to get this deal done by the trade deadline if they want to get Giannis. And I still believe that. I think it is over. But the way that Joe Lacob operates, he still has in the back of his mind, like, well, we still have that chance. We still have Giannis. He's out there. He hasn't been traded. And if you don't have Kuminga part of the deal, then that kind of decreases your chances of getting him. But I would say I'm with you, Steven, before we were going off on a tangent there about Giannis. I don't think he's getting traded. I think that they're going to find a way to give him the max contract this summer, and they'll find a couple of moves, whether it's trading for Ja Morant or anything else out there to entice Giannis to stay, because I don't think he wants to be the bad guy. I think he wants to finish his career with Milwaukee. It's just he wants a chance to win a championship.
Yeah.
So the most likely scenario for me is that Giannis stays with Milwaukee and they just make moves around him to keep him happy, because they got Miles Turner last offseason. They thought that would be enough for Giannis to be happy. Wasn't enough. They're not playing well right now, but can they do enough to keep him happy this offseason? So I think the Warriors will have their hopes up that they could do that, but they need to pivot someplace else, because this offseason will be the biggest of Mike Dunleavy's career, where he needs to find enough moves to not only keep Steph happy, but obviously Steve Kerr happy. Like, what's the plan here where I know I'm coaching a championship caliber team, so I'll sign back with you guys. Like, that's the thing where the Warriors can't wait for that. The Warriors can't wait for Giannis, where these other teams can. Minnesota can. Miami can. Whoever else. The Warriors can't sit idly by this offseason and be like, well, let's wait on Giannis, because I think the Milwaukee Bucks will definitely drive this out, and then ultimately not trade him, where the Warriors need to make moves fast, because they need Steph Curry bought in for more than just this upcoming season, an expiring contract, and they need Steve bought in to get him back as head coach.
Right. And that's what's going to linger over the second half of the season. That's also what sucks, ultimately, with Jimmy Butler getting hurt, because if Jimmy Butler didn't get hurt, the Giannis thing wouldn't have been a conversation. Right. And I think, maybe there would have been another player on the table. I don't know who that would have been, but, we had a couple of people out there reporting. I think it was like Monty Poole and Mark Spears, two guys very tapped in, guys who we trust, who said the Warriors aren't done, or at least they don't believe the Warriors are done. Turns out they was before. Turns out they were before the deadline, which is fine. Like, I mean, they probably tried making offers and they just couldn't acquire anybody. But the rest of this season, it just feels like the ceiling here is back to where they've been over these last few seasons, which is just fighting for the play-in, hoping for the 7th or 8th seed, and at best, you're probably going to lose in the playoffs. And at the end of it, everyone is going to be saying, well, we had a good run. No one expected us to do anything. Like, I think that's the ceiling right now. And then obviously there's an extremely low floor, almost a well.
Yeah.
They could be absolutely be like a lottery team.
I mean, that could be the case as well. And this is what happens when you have, as Steve Kerr put in himself, a fading dynasty. Like, people earlier this week watched the rise of the 49ers. There's the Cowboys documentary. We'll get a great Warriors documentary in time, but this is the end. Like, that's just the truth. Like, whatever they could pull off, cool. I don't think they're going to contend for a championship. Even if they got Giannis, I was like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you got Giannis and you got Steph, but that's not enough to beat OKC or Denver or San Antonio if they become something. So I think we need to accept the fact that let's just appreciate what we got in Steph Curry because he's still, must see television. But as far as them winning another championship, I don't think that's happening. And I'm glad that the trade didn't go through because I shouldn't say that because obviously Giannis on this team is, going to change things. But the way that Draymond was talking the other day of him being like, hey, this is it. I've had a good 14 years here and it didn't really hit me until I talked to Steve. I talked to my wife. I talked to my kid.
Right.
And it's like, damn, this actually, I like it when Draymond's reflective and, talking about life, back in the day with the Warriors.
I was talking to Jesse about that last night. I'm like, he does this thing where he'll go off and one day he'll say, well, the ref was Caucasian and he's sticking his hand in my face and had a Caucasian sticking a hand in a black man's face. I'm not okay. I don't like that or whatever he said.
Right.
I'm paraphrasing there. But then he has this press conference, which reminds you, he does it like where he has these 14 minutes of very introspective, and respectful conversation about a very uncomfortable topic for him. Not uncomfortable for reporters to ask, but for him. And any other player in that situation could have said, look, I'm not talking about that right now. They could have Kevin Duranted that thing, right?
Yeah, of course.
But instead, Dre was very honest, even though some of those questions got a little redundant. It's just like they're trying to create follow-ups out of, will you be traded? What were the conversations like? Blah, blah, blah. And he was still, very respectful. So I commend him for that. But that's like why I think that's why the Draymond defenders have defended him over the years, because he may seem crazy on the court, but then you hear some of these conversations, you're like, damn, he'd be cool. And then he'd be a cool guy. But then, people see a TMZ video of him Falcon punching the teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and another thing too, these past couple of games, Draymond obviously speaking after the not the Pistons lost, the good God, who the Sixers lost.
Sixers, yeah.
Yeah. But seeing those two teams and just like what they've built, it sucks. When you have a high draft pick, a top 10 pick, say like a guy from the Sixers in VJ Edgecombe, who just looks like a star right now. And then the Pistons, who have just been building this thing, really broke it down, rebuilt, led by Cade Cunningham. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he was drafted in 2022. He was a pretty high draft pick who just got all over the Warriors in their loss to the Pistons on Friday night. It just sucks that they did have the assets to build something and they just didn't use those assets properly.
Right.
Like these last couple of games specifically, like heading into this trade deadline, it's just like you got crushed by two teams who, the 76ers are trying to build through their rookies and trying to move on from the Joel Embiid era, but the Pistons right now are the best team in the Eastern Conference by a mile.
Yeah, well, might be the case. We'll see when we get to the playoffs, but
just in terms of record right now.
Yeah.
Right now is the term there. They're 4.5 games above the next.
No, I hear you. Just wrapping up on Kuminga though, talk about Draymond earlier, like being reflective in his time with the Warriors. Like, I want to see him, play a little longer with this team. I would have liked to see Draymond, Steph, and Giannis together. I know people are, the alternative of that was Jimmy Butler, and I'm like, I don't know what Jimmy's going to be coming off a torn ACL, but I don't know. We'll see what happens this offseason. I think Draymond has a player option, and I'm sure he'll pick that up himself because he wants to stay on the team. But then again, I don't know. I don't know if he sees like I was so close to being traded that maybe it's time for me to walk away. We'll see what happens there. I think we all just need to accept the fact that whatever remains of this Warriors dynasty, it's entertaining. It's fun to watch Steph on a night in and night out basis, but it's dying. It is going away. And just to wrap things up on Kuminga, like as far as like placing blame and everything, Joe Lacob, he wanted to make it work with all these guys. He wanted to have this 2-timeline approach. And it's funny to me, like all three guys in Wiseman, Jordan Poole, and Kuminga, they were all traded for 30-year-old players. With James Wiseman, it was GP2. With Jordan Poole, obviously, it was Chris Paul. And then yesterday, Kuminga, it's Kristaps Porzingis. So, you're gaining older players to win now as opposed to having players on your roster that can help you for the future, and none of them panned out, unfortunately. But also, I blame Joe Lacob in this scenario because or not a scenario, but just, with what he's done, is because he thinks he knows a little better than Steve and Mike in these situations. He had a hard time trading away James Wiseman, and also had a hard time with seeing some of the box scores he had later nights when he would go off. When was it, Detroit initially with the first team he was traded to?
Yeah.
Like that stuff didn't matter. With Kuminga, he got it into his mind that he could be the guy. He could be that next great player to, Steph have to pass the torch to him. And that wasn't the case. It was the owner, not intentionally, but kind of pitting the player against the coach in a way where he enabled him a little bit. And that's a problem. And Joe now has to go back to the drawing board and see who's that next guy that could pass the torch or have Steph Curry pass the torch to. So, we've been talking about this for a long time now, and I'm just glad it's over. And I don't know if the Warriors will find that next great superstar that will help this team right now. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe it goes back to where I have a hard time believing this, but where they're irrelevant. I doubt that once Steph retires. I think that people will still show up to Warriors games, but it will lose its luster, unfortunately. So I think we need to accept the fact that last night, I think, was the nail in the coffin for Giannis. I don't think that's happening. You can look back on the Kuminga era as a weird time with Warriors fans going up against each other, a civil war, if you will, and that this time is coming to an end. And I will say this, just last, I'm rambling on here.
Yeah.
The Jonathan Kuminga era, when you think about what he did on the court, honestly, I think more about Buddy Hield. What's up, Don Peralta? What's up, bro? I honestly think, what's up, man? What's up? What's up, man? Good to see you, man.
Wow.
Thanks, man. Sorry. Just talking to
oh God.
Yeah, Daniel Ogden.
No.
Daniel Ogden having some fun too.
What's up?
And Don Peralta in the chat here.
Oh wow.
And say what's up to Creative Tony and Paulie Mac.
Hell yeah. You guys were awesome today.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Wow. This is the most meta podcast episode.
I know.
Ever.
I know. I'm sorry.
Go Jaguars.
I don't even know what the hell I was talking about here, but yeah, when you talk about who had more of an impact with the Warriors as far as this trade, I don't remember. We'll never remember what Kuminga did. I think Buddy Hield had more of an impact. We'll remember Game 7 a year ago where he went off against the Rockets.
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, there's one regular season game a couple of years ago where I remember Kuminga kind of single-handedly saved it against a really good Orlando Magic team. But no, we'll always be. I mean, there's not really much to look back on besides just some dunks that were really impressive. But did he have ever have a poster like Wiggins?
Kuminga? Every now and then, but it's not memorable to me. That's the unfortunate thing. It's not his fault. It's just you kind of get turned off because everybody's bitching and complaining about his playing time. So Kuminga had eye-popping moments, but not enough for me to remember them.
In a weird way, though, I'm more interested to see what happens with Kuminga and the Hawks. I really am.
I have zero interest, to be honest,
because I think this will give us a slight answer as to maybe the Warriors were I think this could confirm. I don't know if this is going to confirm that the Warriors can't, or the Warriors can't develop players. I don't think that's what it's going to be, but I do think it's going to confirm that he didn't really fit with the Dubs. If he just starts to go off, people are automatically going to start looking at the coach. I think that's what's going to happen. I can already see it now. Kuminga starts going off. Steve Kerr couldn't develop. Steve Kerr's fault. Quinn Snyder's a better coach than Steve Kerr, even though Quinn Snyder doesn't have a ring.
That'd be bullshit. And you know who's that guy? Ron Park, or the guy that hates Steve Kerr on social media?
Jim Park. Yeah,
Jim Park. Who cares?
Yeah.
Quinn Snyder is not a better coach than Steve Kerr. Yes, he might be able to have Jonathan Kuminga do his thing, but who gives a fuck? Will it equate to winning basketball? Probably not.
Yep.
So I have zero interest in what Jonathan Kuminga does with the Atlanta Hawks. It's because I don't watch a lot of Atlanta Hawks basketball to begin with. So
yeah.
All right. Anyway, Steven, we will wrap things up tonight. As things are winding down here at Radio Row, we'll rejoin everybody on Saturday to talk about Max Crosby rumors, what's going on with that? Jay Glazer going on with Yahoo Sports yesterday, saying that he's done. But it doesn't sound concrete to me with the way he was talking about it and the way that he was going about it today, making the rounds at Radio Row. We'll review everything with
Also,
the NFL honors.
sad that Aaron Rodgers didn't respond to him.
I know. Yeah, what was the quote? Screw him.
Screw him.
Oh man,
He seemed to take it serious.
I know. Seriously.
Oh, that sucks for him, huh?
I know, man. One of his best friends. And I'll tell my when I was denied to work out at Jay Glazer's gym in West Hollywood. But yeah, we'll come back on Saturday. Get ready for the Super Bowl. To everybody in the chat tonight, thanks to AJ Cruz, thanks to Ernie Chavez, Ernie One, thanks to Danny Golding TV, thanks to my man Andy coming in and acting a fool in the chat here. Thanks to Tacky for a little bit of time. Thanks to this Tribe 69's dudes that always comes in the chat and says Derek Papa makes me creamy. I don't know what the hell that's about. All right, we'll see you guys on Saturday. Steven, say what you always say.
Oh man, it's just our opinion, man. Ew. I bet you it's Connell.